Knicks family, what's poppin'? Is your boy. The Knicks versus Heat today, ladies and gentlemen, at 1 p.m., just about 57 minutes from now. The Knicks are going to try to win 3 in a row. Not 2 in a row. 3 in a row. Try to win their third straight. Bring that record to, what would it be, 12 and 13? Inch closer towards that 6th seed. I think they moved up to the 6th seed. Then they moved down to the 7th seed. Whatever it is, they're trying to stay in that playoff running. And this is a good one, a big one for them to get. We got 2 back-to-back. Or home and away, home and home, whatever you want to call it, against the Miami Heat. We need to get this one. We need to get the first end of it. Have a chance to go 2-0 against the Miami Heat. That'd be big moves for the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to our panel. And before we even get to this game, I guess we could just get some quick thoughts on any updates that have to do with Derrick Rose. I know that's what some people have in their mind. Get that out the way. And then we'll talk Knicks Heat. So, good morning, Divine. What's poppin' with you, man? How you feeling?
Son. I'm good, Sim. What's going on to the panel, to the chat, man? Nick Day, another game day. Derrick Rose thing, I'm all for it. I haven't heard too much other than what I've been looking at on on the internet, Bleacher Report, Real GM, and Reddit. I pretty much function with them particular sites, but it looked like the deal is, to me, from what I hear out there in the chat world, that it's going to get done. It's just a matter of when and who. But from what I hear, that it's definitely a real strong possibility Derrick Rose will be on the Knicks, and I am all for it. Depending on we don't, like I said, mess with our infrastructure too much, but I think he will help this team tremendously, man. That experience and that veteran playing that he do, and been in these situations before in the playoffs and the conference finals. He not looking to come in here and beat a dog. He just want to fit in, and I think that's just a good look for us, man. That's talent right there.
Yeah. Steph, how about you? I know we didn't get a chance to talk to you last night about it.
I know, a surprise podcast. I caught it this morning, though. I'm a big Derrick Rose fan. I mean, I think it also depends on what they give up for him, in terms of whether it'll be a good trade or not. But just in terms of him coming here, whether he starts and Peyton goes to the second unit, or Peyton starts and he goes to the second unit, that second unit will be better. I think it'll function better. I think Quickly is going to get his same amount of minutes. He probably pay a bit more off the ball, maybe be the third point guard in case Derrick Rose get injured or something like that. But I like Rose's mental, going from MVP to basically being almost out the league because of injuries, fighting his way back. And even this year, when they told him that he wasn't going to start over a rookie who didn't play not 1 minute in the NBA, he just said, something like, this is my role now, and I'm going to do what I can to help him become the best point guard he can be, or something like that. So he's very humble. I don't think it's going to matter to him if he falls out of the rotation, if he starts, if he comes off the bench. And I think he'll help Quickly as well in terms of how to man that point guard spot, but more importantly, the mentality you need to have to succeed in this league. So I'm all for it.
Yeah. Andy? Didn't get a chance to talk with you either.
Yeah, but I got a chance to see you because my 4-year-old daughter put the clock on at 3 a.m. and I was running around the house, trying to find the clock and turn it off, and then I just peeped on the phone and I saw you guys were on, so I just listened a little bit. Of course, nobody woke up, just me. So the whole house was on fire almost, but nobody woke up, to turn off the clock. So yes, it's like Steph said, depending who are we giving up. I also have a huge Detroit Pistons fan here in my city, and he said that the fans at least, they would happily take Dennis Smith Jr. and a second round pick for him. So, and I would make that deal.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
Every day, all
with Frank, with Frank, I'm a little bit more hesitant unless we have, something planned for Derrick Rose for the longer run. And I think I would also basically try to skip, dealing Frank. Depends what they want, depends what we can give them. And, I think most of the fans also don't realize how much importance is in the chemistry of the team. Every trade mixes that up a little bit, and with getting a player like Derrick Rose, which is a great friend basically with the coach, that may stir up more things than we even think. But saying also, mentioning that, I also think that Derrick Rose in this point of his career could only help us. But, depends on the price, as always.
Let me ask you.
Can I ask Andy a question?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Because go ahead. Ask the question. You probably have the same question.
Why wouldn't you give up Frank? I mean, he's out of the rotation, and I don't think they're going to sign him after this season.
I already said it, Steph. I don't know if it was online, probably offline. I think we shouldn't even think about trading Knox or Frank.
Knox is different. I wouldn't trade Knox.
See, now.
I wouldn't trade Knox for
they're
Frank.
basically the same age.
No. But I think Knox still have a little more upside than Frank. Possibly. We have to see. Frank has been in the longer you're in the league, the more you become who you are.
Yeah, but right? Steph, imagine this. You got players on the bench that can score for the Knicks. It's not going to be much, but they can score, right? IQ can score, Burks can score, Obi can score, Knox can score. Why don't you want to diversify the roster with a defensive player?
It's Tibbs. He's not. Tibbs is a defensive coach, and he is not even in Tibbs' rotation. That's telling me that there's something more to it than just the fact that he's a good defensive player while he's not playing. I don't think the Knicks are going to re-sign him. So if you can get an asset for him, I would do it.
That's why, Steph, I still think Frank isn't 100%. I don't know if you saw the photos of them working out last night after the game. Mm-hmm. He had a heavily padded that knee. Kevin Knox had also a pad. And I'm not saying that that's only an injury thing, but I think they really are not 100%. And he's not going to throw out a player. He likes to play short rotations, right? So why input a player if he's not 100%? That's going to put him in a bad position for him. So I think still Thibs is going to have a chance to play Frank. He had a game because he was like 3 games and then he got injured, right? He had a game where he hit three 3-pointers in a row and then got a 4th one this season. It's not like Thibs didn't see it. I just think he isn't 100%. That's why he isn't, ready to go. And Thibs doesn't want to put him in a bad spot, in a bad position for him. And, that's still what I think. It might be like you said, that he's not showing up in practices and stuff, and he's not going to get burned. But if I was the coach, I would like to have a diversified, at least a bench. Because if we're going to get burned by, like I told Sim after the show yesterday, if we are going to get burned a couple of times in the next few games by one player, a guard that's going to score 40, and it's going to be, example, Damian Lillard, it's going to be Duncan Robinson and stuff like that, we're going to look for on the defense just for that one guy to lock someone at least a little bit up, right? And we're not going to find it on the bench.
I don't think it's going to be Frank. I don't think it's going to be Frank, though. And our defense is still pretty good even without him. But Sam, go ahead. I don't know if that was your question.
My question was a little different. A lot different, actually. My question was, if they trade Dennis Smith Jr. without giving up Austin Rivers and Elfrid Payton, what happens with that lineup? Because now it's way more jumbled. That's why I can't see them making this move without giving up either Austin Rivers or Elfrid Payton. I just can't see it because now you got, unless you just bury Austin Rivers. But if you're not going to just bury Austin Rivers, now you got to add Derrick Rose into that mix, which is the reason why I can't see this being done. If it's going to get done, I can't see it being done without either Elfrid Payton or Austin Rivers being moved.
And I agree totally with that because it's going to be too much guards on the roster that would expect playing time. And, for a couple of games, it's going to be cool. But for a longer run, some of these guys are not going to be happy. So unless we are thinking ahead to make another move and then ditch a guy like Burks or Rivers or whatever we want, someone to give us back, we might not be done. If it's only the trade that we're going to pull, I think it's like you said, we can add the Dennis Smith Jr. and a 2nd-round pick, but we got to get rid of Rivers because, for a few games, it's going to be cool. but for a longer run, someone's not going to be happy.
Right.
Yeah,
And so, I'm just watching today to see if Austin Rivers gets burned. If he doesn't play at all, then maybe it's an indication that he's really being mentioned and shopped in that trade, right? Because he was pulled out. Well, I don't want to say pulled out. He didn't play in the second half of yesterday's game. We all assumed that it was because of his performance, which it very well could have been because he didn't perform well. But then later on, we come to find out that the Knicks and the Pistons are in, trade talks. And Austin Rivers, I think, could be a guy that's moved. As of yesterday, all the players that we signed in free agency can be traded. Right? So that's Austin Rivers, Nerlens Noel, Alec Burks. So I guess we will see what happens from there.
And Sim, if I can add just one thing. Imagine being a GM of the Detroit Pistons, right? Would you prefer a guy like Frank or a guy like DSJ to be your starting point guard basically for this year because they got Killian Hayes injured, right? And they're playing a shooting guard, at the point guard now at this time, right? So even for me, and I'm not a huge DSJ fan, but if I was him, I would rather take an Austin Rivers or a DSJ to be my point guard at this season because they're basically going to tank, right? But there's more props for DSJ playing the point guard than even Frank because, they have basically no scorers on that except, Blake Griffin, which you're not going to think about getting a score, and Jeremy Grant, right? So I think another option as a scorer in that lineup would fit them more than a defensive player like Frank. That's why I think they should gun for a guy like DSJ than Frank.
I mean, that's true too, but also they may be looking for another guy from France to make Killian Hayes a bit more comfortable.
And
they have Sekou. They have him.
Yeah.
Okay. To make both of them more comfortable. And DSJ is a mess right now. I think right now DSJ is worse than Frank.
I think, personally, I think DSJ, and we even saw him like in those couple of minutes that he got a shot with the Knicks last games. Mm-hmm. He basically, for me, looked like he lost the love for the game. He needs a change of scenery or a break from the game for quite a bit. But him making the move and asking the Knicks to get to the G League makes me think that might be the change of scenery, just getting out of New York for at least those couple of games, building up mentally, physically, and confidence. And I think, even moving to a place like Detroit and having a clean slate for at least a couple of weeks is going to be, a carte blanche for him, and that might be a blessing in disguise for him.
Yeah,
and his career at least.
Right, it could definitely be a blessing for Dennis Smith Jr. if he's the one that ends up being moved for Derrick Rose. I just hope if they do it, whoever they move, Austin Rivers or Elfrid Payton has to go. I think Tom Thibodeau really likes Elfrid Payton. People don't want to hear it. I think Elfrid Payton is going to be here next year. Right, even if we get a Derrick Rose or we get a Kyle Lowry or we get Alonzo Ball, whoever, I still think Elfrid Payton is going to be here. There's something to be said for consistency, right? And if you get a new point guard that has not, Elfrid Payton, if he comes back next year, he would have been here 3 years. He would have been with Julius Randle for 4 years. He would have been going on his 4th year. He would have been with RJ Barrett going on 3 years. He would have been with Mitchell Robinson going on 3 years. There is something to be said for consistency. Starting or coming off the bench, I believe Elfrid Payton is coming back next season, regardless of who is here. So I don't think he's going to be in that trade.
Exactly. I think so.
I don't think he's going to be in that trade.
And Sim, even if we get the Derrick Rose, he's not going to jump in the starting lineup from the day one. That's not going to happen, and fans needs to realize that he's not getting traded to be the starting point guard for the Knicks from the next game this year.
Right. But Sam, if we got Lowry next year, just say we did, you wouldn't see Derrick Rose backing him up. You see Payton backing him up.
Derrick Rose can be a shooting guard.
I could see Derrick Rose and Payton playing in the second unit together.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah, because Derrick Rose can be a shooting guard. He can play off the ball and be a shooting guard while Elfrid Payton distributes or, does what he does. I mean, when you look at the second unit now, you have Austin Rivers and Quickly, who are the same size as having Derrick Rose and Elfrid Payton. So I could see them two playing together in the backcourt. Tom Thibodeau has said that he'd like to sometime this season play Elfrid Payton and Quickly together in the backcourt. So yeah, I could see both of those guys being here next year. And then you have three guards who could legitimately play the point guard spot just in case someone goes down with injury or whatever happens. So those three guys, they could go from the point guard spot to the shooting guard spot, kind of like what he's trying to do with Payton, Quickly, and Austin Rivers now. But Austin Rivers, to me, is just not cutting the cheese. Right.
Listen, real quick before you go to another panel, I think if you do get Derrick Rose and you start Elfrid Payton combined together, that's almost 28 points from your backcourt with almost 10 assists. For two players. That's pretty awesome. You got almost a combined 28 points in your point guard spot and almost 10 assists. And you move quickly to the backup two behind RJ. I think you just got to pull that Rivers trigger somewhere.
Yeah. Joe?
Thanks.
I like the Derrick Rose move. He's been with Tom Thibodeau at two different systems, or two different teams, so he knows Tom Thibodeau's system well. I kind of figure when Payton was playing bad, that stretch, that when we heard them rumors that this was something that was going to happen. But I disagree. I think Payton could be a waive or buyout candidate if they can't move him in this. Because I think they're bringing Derrick Rose in for an upgrade. I don't see them trying to use Derrick Rose and Payton playing together. I think that'll be a disaster because neither of them can shoot. So my feeling is the trade's going to be something like Frank and a second, and Payton. If Payton can't be moved in a different trade, or if he doesn't agree to be moved in this trade, then he's probably a buyout or a waive candidate at some point. I'm not saying straight away, but I think they're going to see who bring in Derrick Rose as competition, and if Derrick Rose can beat out Payton or is performing better than Payton can be waived. See,
to me, bringing in Derrick Rose, just Derrick Rose for Elfrid Payton is just not an upgrade, really, to me. That's why I just don't think it makes sense. It makes sense to bring Derrick Rose in for Austin Rivers so that you get that 15 points coming off the bench from that guard spot. And then you have, if one of these point guards goes down, you have another point guard, a legitimate point guard that can play. To just bring him in for Elfrid Payton, to me, doesn't make sense. Just stay with Elfrid Payton then. Neither one of them shoot the ball from three well. They both shoot about the same percentage from the field. Elfrid Payton is a better defender. If you're going to bring him for Elfrid Payton, you might as well just stay with Elfrid Payton and not give up any assets for Derrick Rose. It won't make no sense. I just don't think that moves the needle enough, in my opinion.
I think it does. It moves it a little bit because at least, with Rose, you're going to get consistently 13, 14, 15 a night. Payton can drop 20 for 2-3 nights and then go missing for a month.
Payton is averaging 14 points a game, just like Derrick Rose is averaging 14 points a game. And if you go look at the game logs, if you go look at the game logs, I guarantee you'll see some games where Derrick Rose scored in double digits, some games where Derrick Rose scored 20. You're going to get the same production out of those players at this point in Derrick Rose's career.
But you look at Derrick Rose is only playing 20 minutes a game. Payton's playing averaging close to 30, or I think over 30.
He's not averaging 30 minutes per game. He is not averaging 30 minutes per game.
Minutes of him for a minute.
He's not averaging 30 minutes a game. They average pretty close to about the same as far as minutes per game. And I think if you start Derrick Rose over Elfrid Payton, knowing that Tom Thibodeau is a defensive guy, you're giving up something defensively. I don't think he's being brought here for this season to be a starter. And I don't think that they're going to – you can see how Tom Thibodeau does not like to move the lineups. I don't think he's looking to move these lineups right now. I think he's comfortable with the way the lineups are. Now, if he can bring Derrick Rose in for Austin Rivers, I think that's an upgrade because you're strengthening that bench. Not to mention you're adding someone on the bench that can bring some that bench is always in disarray. Right? It's always in disarray. It doesn't feel like they have anything going on. Nobody to really settle them down. Derrick Rose can settle those guys down. So to me, if you're just going to bring him in for Elfrid Payton, pretty much that's going to be a wash. You know what I'm saying? And
to me, it doesn't make sense bringing Rose in and replacing him with Rivers because you're literally throwing away shooting. Unless you're fully committed to moving IQ over to the shooting guard position.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm saying is if that's what he's planning on doing.
Right. That's what I'm thinking, though.
That's the only way it makes sense.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. He'd be the point guard, and IQ would move over to the 2, but also be the third point guard if there's any injury.
Hey, Joe, you're not really replacing shooting because Alfred Rivers is not shooting.
He's not shooting
playing good. So you're not really replacing shooting because he ain't shooting.
But the thing is, he has at least the outside threat of shooting because he can go off every night. Payton and Rose don't shoot well at all. It's a career thing with them. Rivers can go. Rivers, is the threat, and that spreads the floor a little bit.
Rivers is
I mean,
a little bit mid-range game.
Yeah. His mid-range game is just lethal.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
His mid-range is nice.
So when he get in the key, he's not going to be dribbling around like a mouse coming out on the other side. He's going in there. He's going to be definitive. He's going to shoot it or he's going to pass out to a shooter.
Draw some fouls, get some fouls, get to the line.
Yeah.
Right.
That game's going to look a lot different. I just don't see where, you're making so much of a jump. I mean, I can agree that there's maybe a little bit of a jump if Derrick Rose is starting instead of Elfrid Payton. I think you make more of a jump, more of an impact if Derrick Rose is coming off the bench and Austin Rivers is not playing, not on the team, not playing or whatever it is. I think you make more of a jump then, right? Because Derrick Rose is going to be much more consistent than Austin Rivers in that second unit. I think he's pretty comfortable with Elfrid Payton in that first unit. Clearly, you hadn't seen a change. When Reggie Bullock goes out, it's not like, he's like, well, he hasn't been here for 3 games. Alec Burks is in the starting lineup. Let's keep it this way. No, Reggie Bullock goes right back in the starting lineup. You know what I'm saying? Elfrid Payton's been here the entire season, hasn't been out. RJ's been here the entire season, hasn't been out. Mitch has been here the entire season, and Randall's been here the entire season. He's trying to build consistency with that lineup. I don't see them breaking that right now. You know what I mean? So to me, it would be, if one of those guys is going to either be traded or out the lineup, it would be Austin Rivers instead of Elfrid Payton. That's so just the way that I see it.
What do you think they're trying to just give them Rivers and Frank or Rivers and somebody straight up?
I think that would make sense, right? To do Rivers and Frank or Rivers and somebody, Rivers and DSJ straight up. Now, if they end up saying we're just going to keep Rivers and move DSJ or move Frank, then I would think that Rivers probably moves out of the lineup and ends up.
He could be bought out.
Or he could be bought out. Right.
Not that he's only making $3 million, and the next it's only this year. The following 2 years aren't guaranteed.
Right.
So buying him out is not an issue. It's only like $3 million.
Right. He could be bought out, and if he goes to Detroit or something like that, they might decide to buy him out as well.
Yeah.
So that they're not adding it on to the books. I guess we'll see what happens within the next few days. I don't think anything's going to happen today, given that it's Super Bowl. Right? So I don't think anything's going to happen today. Or at least I don't think it'll be announced today. I think, was it last year?
It might be soon.
Didn't Steve Mills get fired in the Super Bowl or something? There was a important date.
I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but that's when I got the call. Someone said, hey, I just seen Steve Mills tonight leave out of the Garden steaming, and gave me some information about what was going on, and it was on the Super Bowl. But of course, it didn't get announced until a couple of days later because they didn't want to disrupt things going on with the Super Bowl. So things will still happen. It just probably wouldn't be announced until later on. So let's talk about this game tonight. And, while I'm getting to you about the game, if you want to say something about Rose, feel free to jump in and say something about Derrick Rose. Josh, we play the Miami Heat tonight. The Knicks are on a 2-game winning streak. I think Miami is on a 1-game. I think they've won their last game. Let's see. Yeah, they won their last game. They're 8-14. They've won 3. Well, they're 3-7 in their last 10 games. But this is the Miami Heat, and they're gonna come in and try to play hard and play tough. And like Steph just said, they're only 2 games behind the Knicks for the 7th spot, 2.5 games behind the Atlanta Hawks for the 6th spot. So everybody's jumbled up from the 6th seed on down to the 13th seed. Yeah, I mean, you can say on down to the 14th seed, right? And, everybody's jumbled up. I mean, the Washington Wizards right now are only 3.5 games behind the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? So they're looking at it like they have a chance. And if I'm the Knicks, I want to look at it like we want to show you that you don't have a chance. We want to try to put you out of this running if we can. If we can win 2 here, we can put you out of the running, because they're looking and saying if we win 2, all of a sudden they're 10-14. They're right back in the mix. I mean, Cleveland Cavaliers are 10-14 right now, and they're in the 10th seed. So this is going to be a tough game. What do you think, Josh?
Definitely. I definitely think this is a very important game for us, not only from the basketball standing standpoint, but from the, Miami Heat went to the NBA Finals last year. They were the kings of the Eastern Conference last year. So if the Knicks want to start making their mark and putting teams on notice and the NBA on notice, they got to win these type of games. These are the games that they need to win. I'm interested in how we're going to defend Jimmy Butler. I know he's been out for majority of the season, but he is going to play today. And Bam Adebayo, those are their 2 guys. So how are we going to be able to defend those guys? And if we do defend those guys, can we be able to contain the outside shooting? The Duncan Robinsons, the Kelly Olynyk's, the Tyler Heroes. So I think overall it's going to be a tough game for us. I think we definitely can pull it out. Vegas has us the underdog by 6 points, even though Miami has that record, a worse record than we do and worse in the standings than we do. Vegas is still picking them to win. So Miami's still formidable, and we can't take any team lightly, particularly the Miami Heat. We just got to figure out how we're going to do today. As long as we come out with that intensity, our defensive intensity that we're known for, I think we should be fine. But again, we can't take any of these teams lightly.
Yeah, definitely.
And one thing, Josh, you said yesterday, I heard you said this. Sorry, Josh, you said, who knows Jimmy Butler better than Jimmy Butler?
I said that?
Yes, you said that. You said Thibodeau knows Jimmy Butler better than Jimmy Butler, or as much as Jimmy Butler. Somebody said, I think it was Josh.
It wasn't me, but yeah, that's true. Yeah, he does. He definitely does know Jimmy Butler, the type of player that Thibodeau loves. That gritty, leave it all on the floor kind of player. That's definitely Jimmy Butler. But we'll see. We'll see what definitely happens today. We got to be able to defend, because they don't have that good of an offense. They're pretty much last or not last, but bottom of the league in every offensive category. They don't shoot the ball particularly well. They don't push the ball up the floor particularly well. But whenever they're locked in on defense, that transitions into their offense, just like us. So we just got to figure out how we can be able to stop those guys on on the offensive end.
Right. Now, our key matchup today, we were talking about Jimmy Butler. The key matchup is most likely RJ Barrett versus Jimmy Butler. And, some people will say that RJ Barrett is looking at, a future of himself maybe when you're talking about Jimmy Butler. Define, how do you think RJ Barrett matches up with Jimmy Butler? And can he continue to play that smooth game, high efficiency game that he's been playing over the last 2 weeks against Jimmy Butler?
I know he's capable, but we do got to take in mind Jimmy Butler is a defense dude. You're right. It's almost like a split image of RJ in a sense, but it'd be a good test for RJ. And if RJ only score 13 points tonight, I won't be mad, because it's Jimmy Butler, and that's what he do. But overall, I think this is a good matchup for the Knicks all around, because I think Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, I think Randall and Barrett cancels that out. You know what I mean? Like, them four players pretty much get the same production, so that's good. But I think that we also, Mitchell Robinson got to take advantage of Kelly Olynyk. He's not no defense ball player. This should be a Mitchell Robinson game today. And I think Quickly and Dragic, they cancel each other out. I think Burks and maybe Duncan Robinson cancel each other out when it comes to shooting three. This is a good match. It's almost like the Knicks playing themselves today, basically. So I just think that, like Josh said, if we bring our defense game with like we're supposed to, and I think we will, I think the Knicks don't pull that out today. I'm almost confident the Knicks will win that game today.
Yeah. Steph?
Yeah, I mean, I think to piggyback off of Divine, I'm interested to see RJ go against Butler because he is a tough defender. But if he gets the best of RJ, I'm not going to be down on RJ.
Right.
I'm not going to be down on him, but I am interested to see how he does against that matchup. I think pretty much everything Divine says. I think we match up pretty well with them. Hero and Duncan, I'm not sure what they're shooting this season. They may not be shooting that great this season, but they are good shooters. And I think they're better shooters than we have. And I think if they do get off, if our rotations are not great and we're not closing out properly and they get hot, right. I don't know if we would have enough offense to attack that. And it also depends on where Quickly is. Sometimes he has great games, sometimes he doesn't. And we're in a position where, even though he's a rookie, we really need him to come through for us.
Yeah, and Tyler Hero's averaging 17 points a game so far this season, shooting 45% from the field. He's shooting 33% from three, but we know he can get hot. Last year, he shot almost 40% from three. Elfrid Payton's going to have his work cut out for him, chasing that guy around, bumping over screens and all of that. He's got to be up for the task. I mean, he's got to be up for the task every night because every team has strong point guards, strong guard play. So he's got to be ready to deal with Tyler Hero tonight, who's going to be starting that point guard. I'll show it again. I flashed it a little bit earlier. Looking at the matchups, Elfrid Payton and Tyler Hero. Reggie Bullock, same thing with Duncan Robinson. He's got to be ready to be running around screens and run these guys off the line. RJ Barrett and Jimmy Butler. Julius Randle and Kelly Olynyk. Another guy that we got to watch from the perimeter with Kelly Olynyk. Julius Randle got to be ready to run him off the line and watch out for that pick and pop scenario with Tyler Hero or Jimmy Butler. And then you got Mitchell Robinson and Bam Adebayo. So, this is going to be a challenging game for the Knicks because these guys can shoot. And we don't want them to start getting hot from the three-point line and take us out the game from that three-point line. We really got to be on our game from that three-point line. You know what I mean? Andy?
Yeah, Kendrick Nunn too. So
yeah, Kendrick Nunn too.
Yeah,
Andy?
it's
right.
Yeah, exactly. Like you guys said, the thing that they are not shooting the ball this season well, it doesn't mean that they aren't great shooters. We saw Duncan Robinson making 9 3-pointers a game, and I think it wasn't in one game. So if he catches fire, we gotta cool him off really fast. And it also goes, with the other guys. Kendrick Nunn can go off, and he had over 20 points game this season. Tyler Hero had great games in the bubble. Jimmy Butler is a name in himself, so it's you don't have to advertise that guy. No, the worst thing that I fear is basically the guards and their 3-point shooting and Bam Adebayo in the paint, because I'm pretty much scared because he can draw the guys a little bit outside.
Right.
The same with Kelly Olynyk. So our guys are not perfect defenders when they are around the 3-point line. That also opens the point for the Heat guards. Right. So they're going to be able to slash in there. And the worst thing is, if Mitch is going to try to stay in the paint, he might not be, able to cover the whole, half court on defense. And, I wonder how they're going to try to what's going to be the defensive tactics for today, because they are a really, interesting team when you look at their tactics on offense. And Spo is also a great coach, so he might have something planned already for us.
Right.
Something
Right.
special.
including the zone, right?
Right,
Zone.
exactly. That zone.
Not to mention that.
Right. And Kelly Olynyk, he's shooting 35% from the three-point line. Duncan Robinson, he is shooting from the three-point line. He's shooting 40%. So, I mean, they got guys that can go ahead and hit that three. We really got to be careful and watch what we're doing to be scrambling on defense. You know, if we can play guys straight up without having a double team, I think that'll be good for us. You know, if we have to double team Jimmy Butler or Bam Adebayo, then they're going to have us scrambling, trying to find these three-point shooters. If we could play them straight up, even if they're hitting shots over top of us, you know, if you're making it tough on them and they're shooting maybe a low percentage, 42, 43%, I think you don't double them. You let it be where it is instead of making the defense scramble. Now, of course, if they get hot and they're shooting 60, 70%, like Jimmy Butler gets hot or
Like the Clippers.
Bam Adebayo gets hot, then maybe you have to send a double team and take your chances there. But if they're shooting just normal, I think you just let it go, you know, and defend that three-point line and don't let these guys get hot.
Yeah,
right.
And, you know, the worst thing with the Knicks history is some of these guys that you never expect to make shots. Maybe not like you never expect, but you expect them to make 2, max 3 shots. They make 5.
Right.
You know, and that's the 6, 7, 8 point difference that, you know, like Patrick Patterson. He made, you know, 3 3-pointers. He was, you know, above his season average in the first quarter. The same could be with Kelly Olynyk. So, you know.
Yeah.
That's going to be a weird thing that we're going to get killed by second stringers.
Yeah. For the Knicks, Nerlens Noel continues to be day-to-day. He's listed as questionable for today's game versus the Heat. So it looks like he probably won't play, and Taj Gibson to continue to get some minutes in the backup center role. For the Miami Heat, they still got a list of guys out, led by Goran Dragic. He's out for today's game with an ankle injury. Jimmy Butler's day-to-day, but he's likely going to play. Maurice Harkless is out. Chris Silva is out. And Gabe Vincent is probable for the game. I don't know how much Gabe Vincent actually plays. I guess we'll find out. Looking at some numbers behind the game, the Miami Heat, they score 107.2 points per game. If the Knicks are playing the defense that they normally play, we should be able to hold them down into the 90s if we play the type of defense that we normally play. They're not a great rebounding team. They average about 42 rebounds a game. You know, we're around 47. Last in the NBA. They do average a lot of assists, probably because of those three-point shooters. And they got guys that can get in the lane, kick it out. They can knock down those threes. So we've really got to watch that. We're only averaging 21 assists per game. They're not a big steal team. They average 6.7 steals. We average 6.5. They're at about 4 blocks. We're at 5 blocks. They average 16 turnovers a game, so they will give up the ball. I think, you know, again, I want us to work on getting deflections. That's something I really want this team to work on, focus on, getting deflections and trying to get out and run. Now, we average 13 turnovers per game. They're shooting 46.7% from the field. We're around 45. They shoot 30. Both teams are shooting 35% from 3. But they seem to have more three-point shooters than we do, even though they're only shooting 35% from 3. They shoot 77.8% from the free throw line. We're shooting 76. We should be able to win the battle in the paint. Right? They average 42 points in the paint. We average 48. We average 13 second chance points. They average about 9.6. And, of course, they got us some fast break points at 12.2 to 7. They're led in scoring by Bam Adebayo at 20. He also leads them in rebounding. Goran Dragic leads them in assists, but he's not playing today. And Adebayo leads them in blocks. The Knicks, of course, you know, are led by Julius Randle in points, assists, and rebounds. And Nerlens Noel is leading the team in blocks, but he's not playing today. So we're going to be depending on Mitchell Robinson to defend that rim if necessary. So this is going to be definitely going to be a competitive game. Prince, coming to you, man.
Shout out to chat, man. Hey, Coach. Hey, how many pyramids do I owe for missing shoot around yesterday, man? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we got about. I got about 3 of them on my clipboard right here for you. We got like 3 pyramids on my clipboard for you, man. So.
And counting.
And counting.
Oh,
And counting.
I hope my teammates to step up on the line with me and run with me today. But
I got you with one, just one. That's all I got.
anyway, man. Hey, that's what's up, Steph. Hey, that's what's up. Hey, but I definitely look forward to us pulling out a win tonight. Knicks is starting to really grind themselves into a very reputable team now. Like I said, you're starting to see our headlines are starting to turn around. People aren't throwing shots at us anymore. These aren't lucky wins. These aren't, the Knicks snuck up on them. No, we're winning games. We're showing the NBA and teams that, we're going to grind you out. I don't think it's going to be easy for Miami. It's going to be an ugly game between both of us. I think it'll be probably one of those old school 90s NBA games.
Yeah, it might be one of those grinded out games, and you're breaking up a little bit on us, Prince. So let me get to a phone call. Caller, you live. What's popping?
To 80, 86 or something.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, caller, you live. What's popping?
Hey, Sim, what's up? This is Bravo. I'm a huge fan of you from Detroit.
Okay.
So I think I called the show a few times, and I tipped your channel a few times. First of all, I want to say great shout-out for all the people in the chat and the panel. Isaiah and Andy, you guys are doing great. I want to talk briefly about, hopefully you guys beat the Miami Heat today.
That's the plan. That's the plan going into the game. That's the plan to go in and get us a win.
Yeah. So I'm a first Detroit Pistons fan, but I'm also a New York Knicks fan.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk about D Rose in here. I think I called before. I talked about Andre Drummond. There were some rumors last year about it.
Right. But, I remember that. Right. I remember that.
Yes. So in regard to D Rose, here's what I think. I think we love D Rose here in Detroit, and we hate to see him leaving, but we got to get something in return if we have to trade him. So the guy I'm interested in from the Knicks perspective is Frank Ntilikina. I mean, I think he connects well with Sekou Doumbouya and Killian Hayes because they're both French. Mm-hmm. I think French is a French friendship between Sekou and Frank Ntilikina. So I think he's the guy I would want. I would love to get also, but I also like Dennis Smith Jr. I mean, if we can get both, that would be a great deal. But wow. it might be
throw in a second round that you can have.
I think. So the Clippers are interested in D Rose. We heard that multiple times. Would the Knicks be interested in a three-team deal between? So basically, we send D Rose to the Clippers. Pistons get Frank Ntilikina and second-round picks from the Clippers, and the Knicks get Lou Williams. How do you guys feel about those?
I don't know.
Love it.
I mean,
I love it.
I mean, we kind of got Lou Williams light right now and Emmanuel quickly, right? I don't know. Does he bring what Tom Thibodeau is looking for in D Rose? So from a fan standpoint, I think fans would like Lou Williams. I'm not sure if the organization is looking to add someone like Lou Williams because that's basically quickly. You kind of got that guy. I think they're looking for someone who can really help out. Solidify that second unit and be able to organize that second unit a little bit better. I think that's what they're probably looking for. But I wouldn't put it past a 3-team trade like that.
Yeah. So that's it. Just shout out to the show. I love your show, man.
Well, let me ask you this, though. I want to ask you one thing. How are you guys feeling about Sekou Doumbouya?
We love Sekou in here. He's our. We think about he's the star for the future, but we hate the fact Dwayne Casey is not playing him this year. And actually, you see the odds of the next man to be fired from the coaches of the NBA is Dwayne Casey here.
Right.
So we hate it actually because he regressed this year because of the fact he is not playing enough minutes.
But why is he not playing him?
I think because of the fact we got multiple people in the same place. We got Jeremy Grant this year. We got Sadiq Bey, and we got Josh Jackson. They're really taking over his minutes.
See, because I would be interested in Sekou. I really would.
Yeah, so the Pistons are interested in Frank because we have Sekou and Killian Hayes. We have a French connection here.
Right.
I don't think we were trading Sekou, but I won't be surprised. Anything has happened on the table.
Yeah, that's true. What about Sadiq Bey? I got to ask about Sadiq Bey. How you guys feeling about Sadiq Bey?
I saw the last episode. You guys talked about Sadiq Bey for Obi Toppin. I don't think it's he's on the table because he just drafted him. Troy Weaver, our GM, just literally drafted Sadiq Bey. I don't think he's going to trade those guys. We just drafted him.
Well, not for Obi, but what about like a future first round draft pick or something like that? Like Dallas is 2023.
I'm not sure, really. I don't think he's on the table because we just drafted him.
Right, he's probably not. I'm just, just saying. He's probably not on the table. But if I'm Leon Rose, I'm at least trying to throw it out there. You know what I mean? I like that kid, but I like that kid. I think you guys got to
give up Knox. It's not trade like that.
Right.
All right. So keep it popping, Pistons, and Knicks.
I appreciate you, man.
Take care.
Thank you for the call.
You bet.
Later. I
mean, I love it when the other team players call him.
I like that too. Yeah. I like that too. So I guess they are looking to try to put those guys together. Have three French guys together. Try to build that camaraderie and make that connection. I mean, I've read places that the reason why Sekou's not playing is because of his work ethic and those type of things. I would still be interested in him on this team because I think he's really, really talented. If that was someone that they were looking to give up. Isaiah, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's up, man?
Hey, what up, Zay?
Good.
Hey, man. Hey, I'm glad everybody that came out Cooking with Chef Zay. It was a great show, highest rated show in NBK history. We did records.
Actually, it was the show the highest rated show was the show that I showed after, the one I played after, with me kicking your butt on the court, one-on-one. That was the highest rated show.
First of all, everybody, the uncut version. First of all, everybody knowing I had a torn, I had a torn ACL, a bad ankle,
right.
And so that's why. Listen, because people think I didn't play defense. What happened was I injured myself, but I'm a tough guy. I played through the pain like my man Andy would. I played through the pain, and listen, I got a couple buckets in there.
No, what happened was you actually did play defense. I just made it look like you didn't play defense.
Wow,
that's all that is.
Okay. Zay lost to the coach. You getting benched.
Let's get back to the show, everybody. Okay, let's get back to the show. First and foremost, hope everybody's doing good. We got a nice, good old storm in Connecticut today, so hope everybody's good.
Yeah, we got one here too. Snowing here too.
Yeah, man. Golly, man, I'm tired of this. But so today's game, man, it's I'm gonna say this, Sim. This is my bold prediction.
All right.
If RJ Barrett doesn't play good, he is going to the bench in Detroit because the Knicks are going to trade him for D Rose.
What are you talking about?
I'm using my Josh intake. I'm doing my Josh intake.
You never want to trade RJ Barrett.
If RJ Barrett doesn't play good, he's going to the bench in Detroit.
Right.
That is my bold. That's my no. I'm playing with you, Josh, but yeah, man. I think today's game, man, is going to be definitely. I feel like it's going to be a '90s game, man. I think it's going to be these two teams are kind of the same. Of course, Miami has better shooting with Duncan Robertson and Tyler Hero and those guys. And Bam Adebayo, that dude is just playing amazing, man. That dude, Bam Adebayo, is just he's different, man. So it's going to be very hard time for Mitch and Randall, and then we all know Jimmy Butler. But honestly, though, Sam, I'm really hoping RJ Barrett marked this game down because Tyler Hero was one of the guys that was ahead of him in the all rookie teams. And I honestly said, I want him to bust his butt. I want RJ to go crazy for that, really, seriously. I want him to, anytime there's like a moment he can go against Tyler Hero, I want him to take advantage of that. And I want him to drop at least 30, 35, 45 on his head.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Right now, with RJ's playing well, I don't see him having, 30, 40-point games right now. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he gets one or something like that this season. And the only reason why I say that is because when I'm watching him play, he's really focusing in on finding his spots. And so right now, it's not like he's getting to his spots. It's not natural instinct, second nature for him to get to those spots. He's still searching for them and finding them. When he starts to get to those spots out of second nature, then I think that's when those, you really see him get prolific, because now he doesn't have to think about it and he can do more things. He can fake getting to that spot, just other things that you can do. And now when you get to your spot, things you can do when you get to your spot. So right now he's focusing on taking his time, getting to his spots, good shot selection. So he's playing well, but he's thinking a little bit too. I can see it, but he's playing smooth, and I think once he can get to those spots by second nature without having to focus on it that much, then other things take over and he becomes more prolific. So, but they're on the way. They're on the way, I think.
Yeah. And Sim, I wanted to also say something about the Derrick Rose thing. I was thinking about it a lot more. I've been thinking about it a lot, and I'm a little concerned with this D Rose thing. I'm concerned because if we do get D Rose right, that means we're going to keep him for most likely the next year.
Okay.
And I don't want the Knicks to, and I could be wrong, but this is just my feeling. I don't want the Knicks to go into next season with mediocre guard play. I don't want a point guard play. I don't want them to rely on older guys in that point guard spot. I would prefer the Knicks go draft a guy, which they still can. I just don't want the Knicks to, keep D Rose and we still have Alfred Payne and we have a man quickly and we roll with that. That's not going to get you to where we want to go. Don't get me wrong; it's going to do us good, for this season and everything. If we're going to definitely be in the playoff push, but it just concerns me in the future, thinking ahead that I don't want the Knicks to fall in love with having mediocre guard play because I just don't think that's going to be really good for the Knicks in the future for the next upcoming years. Like again, right? We still have our draft picks, so we can draft a point guard, but I just don't want the Knicks to be like, well, we can do point guard by committee. I'm not going to be rock.
I don't think you have to worry about that. I don't think you have to worry about that. Right. If Derrick Rose is here next year, right, it doesn't stop them from being able to sign another guard.
Or draft a guard.
Remember, most of our guards can be dumped after this season.
Right.
You can just dump the guys, not resign them. Most of them.
And the cream of the crop is going to rise. And that's who's going to play. The cream of the crop is going to rise, and that's who's going to play
next year.
I disagree with that. I think Elfrid Payton still might be here next year. It doesn't mean that he has to. It doesn't mean that he has to be your starting point guard. I think he'd be here due to consistency, which there's a lot to be said for consistency.
Chemistry and consistency.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Chemistry and consistency. That's part of the reason why we're playing better this season is because he's been with Julius Randle for 3 years. He's been with R.J. Barrett for 2 years. He's been with Mitchell Robinson for 2 years. We keep wanting to shuffle around players. We never build any consistency. If he's here, if you get a Kyle Lowry or whoever is you're going to be a starting point guard, that don't mean Elfrid Payton can't be on the bench. He could even be the third guard on the bench, but he's still helping to provide some consistency because when you need it, I can go to this guy to get some things done. You know what I mean?
Can I ask a question? Isaiah, what do you expect out of our point guard position? What exactly do you want from the point guard position, statistically speaking?
Are you talking about right now or in the
period? Like you keep asking for us to bring in a guard, but what exactly do you want from the point guard position?
I want a point guard to actually run a team, to actually get guys in position, to get guys to get in their spots, to actually run the team, to, like I said, do everything that a point guard should be doing. That's what I want.
So what is that?
What about statistically?
Points.
What is that? Yeah. Points, assists, what do you want?
Well, I mean, so again, I'm trying to understand the question. Are you talking about what do I want statistically from my point guard?
Yes.
Or what do I want from? Well, I mean, if in my idea, we would have a point guard that to me would give us, the 17 to 18 points, that 7 to 8 assists, and to run the team. That's statistically what I would want from my point. Statistically.
Okay.
I'm not one of those. Well, I mean,
you definitely not. You're probably not getting that out of a rookie.
So in other words, you're willing to wait another 2 or 3 years for the Knicks to develop another point guard. You know what I'm saying? It's like how much more do you guys want to wait?
What about John Moran? John Moran did it.
Yeah, but the Knicks are not guaranteed to draft that high. They're not guaranteed to draft that high.
Guaranteed to draft that high. I'm point guard is going to give you 15 assists at least 15 assists and like 12 points.
15 assists. It's not a point guard in the league giving you 15 assists a game right now.
I don't think our starter and our backup.
That's what you think Isaiah wants.
That's Walt Clyde in the playoffs.
He said that's what he said. That's what Isaiah wants. Okay.
No.
I didn't know in Josh's mind. Josh is like, well, what do you want in a point guard?
That was a question. I don't know what he wants. I was asking.
I've never said 15 assists. Now they haven't done that since even Magic Johnson. I don't think Magic Johnson ever did that. But again, right? I want
not 15, but at least a double, 10 and something.
The Knicks. Shams just reported that the Knicks are near an agreement.
Okay. So there you go.
They're near an agreement on the deal to send Derrick Rose to the Knicks for Dennis Smith Jr. and draft compensation.
That's it. Wow. Okay. Wow.
Scenario was up.
My boy Frank is not going nowhere.
Yes. Okay, I mean,
I'm a pop a bottle right now before the.
Listen, Mommy Steph broke the news. Stephanie, let them know that you said it first, Steph. Let them know.
I did, but somebody in the chat said it, and then I went on just to double check it.
We don't care about that.
we got the Steph bomb. Get Woj. We got the Steph bomb today.
I like that. Wait, hold on. The Steph bomb.
Right.
I heard
Derrick Rose is battle tested. That's all I can tell you. He battle tested. Bring him on down here. We need Derrick Rose. Cut Austin Rivers, let him go play with his dad in Philly for the year.
Does he have to go in the COVID protocol, or can he play tomorrow?
He has to go to protocol. Hey, Sim.
Question.
Sim, I'm going to say this, though, Sim. I'm going to say this. I will go on an epic rant if I hear a first-round pick was set. I'm going to
They're not going to do that.
They're not going to do that.
Hey, listen.
No, look at the front office we got now. It wasn't the one that we had in previous years, right?
Right.
Hey, all I'm going to say is I hope.
Nah, they're not doing that, man.
I'm not sure even if we don't have a Pistons second rounder in the 23 year. It might be just gonna leave it to them.
Oh, give them back that pick?
Yeah, give him back that pick.
That'd be smart.
Mm-hmm.
That would be smart.
But that's a high pick, though. That's like a 30. It's like number 31. That's going to be the 31st pick in the draft as of yesterday. I was reading on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Steph. That's a little too. That's literally basically a first round pick.
That's like a first round pick.
Knicks have money. They can buy all the second round picks they want. They got money.
But not that high one. That's a high one, though.
But Devon, hold on, Devon. There's a difference from buying the
I'm just joking.
The 52 pick. You can buy the 52 pick, but that 31 pick though, that's a first round pick basically, honestly.
Well, look, the game is about to start. I'm gonna come around real quick and get every. The game is gonna start. So real quick, 10 seconds. Your predictions, Divine.
Knicks 102. Miami 96.
All right, Steph.
Knicks gonna win. Miami won't score 100 points.
All right, Josh.
Miami, Kansas City 31, Tampa Bay 10. Miami 102, Knicks 96. I think we lose today.
Oh, you put the same thing as Divine. I say up by 6 as well.
Yeah, Andy.
I'm gonna put up by 5. Up by 5, so I don't be like everyone by 6.
Okay, Isaiah.
So first, Tom Brady's going for number 7, and then the Knicks will win 120-113 overtime.
Wow.
Okay. Prince.
Wow.
I'm gonna keep it straight, 90s baby style, man. 96 to 88, Knicks about to win.
Dang.
Okay. And
Back there when they did that kind of score.
I want to keep them on the 100 like we did the last game, and I had said it, and we did. Keep them on the 100. We win by like 105, 110, 115. I don't know.
Wow, you blowing out, Joe.
I keep saying 115. You gotta go that number. 115, play that number.
All right, well, let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it. You heard it here first by Steph. The Knicks, according to Shams, the Detroit Pistons are nearing an agreement on a deal to send Derrick Rose to the New York Knicks for Dennis Smith Jr. and draft compensation. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get up out of here. Spread love, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be here at the post game about 3:30. Yeah, no pyramids, Prince.